They never told you this, that the biggest shifts of your life wouldn't feel like explosions or fireworks. They would feel like confusion, silence, and stillness. That the most powerful moments of transformation wouldn't come with fanfare, but with a subtle sense that something just doesn't fit anymore. You wake up, look around at your life, and it feels like you've outgrown the frequency, like the walls are made of old versions of you. Not wrong, just expired. And then something inside you whispers, it's time to jump. Not physically, not symbolically, quantumly. Most people think quantum jumping is a metaphor, a spiritual way of saying change your mindset or imagine a better future. But what if it's not a metaphor at all? What if, just like in quantum physics, it's a real measurable process, a shift of energetic alignment so precise, so immediate, that the change occurs without a bridge, no step-by-step, no staircase, just relocation of self like an electron jumping from one orbit to another without passing through the space in between. In quantum mechanics, this is called a discontinuous transition. The electron doesn't travel from one energy state to another. It disappears from one place and appears in another instantly when enough energy is absorbed. That's not poetry. That's physics. And what if you, as a vibrational being entangled with infinite timelines, function the same way? What if every time you felt the urge to let go, break free, or walk away, it wasn't just emotional restlessness? It was your field preparing to jump. But here's the thing. Most people don't listen. They rationalize. They wait. They analyze the cost of change while their soul is already gone. The mind tries to catch up to a decision the heart already made. That's why transformation feels chaotic, because you're fighting a jump that already started. And the only thing delaying it is your attachment to the how. See? Quantum jumps don't follow logic. They don't need explanation. They only need coherence, alignment, a decision that vibrates louder than your fear. That's when the field responds. That's when the jump locks in. If you feel this message resonating in every cell of your being, know that it is not by chance. It is the universe knocking, inviting you into a higher dimension of awareness. Leave a powerful mark by pressing like, share this light with souls who are searching, and hit subscribe to journey with Quantum Secrets as we uncover the mysteries of the quantum realm. And you felt it before, haven't you? That moment when a relationship ended and you felt 10 years lighter, when you quit the job and the air suddenly tasted different, when you stopped explaining yourself and the world responded with silence and then with miracles. Those were jumps, not gradual changes, not linear progressions, leaps, not in your calendar, but in your signal. And the reason you didn't see immediate proof wasn't because nothing happened. It was because the field was still reorganizing around your new coordinates. Because that's how it works. The moment you choose, not wish, not hope, but choose a new state of being, the field begins rearranging. But most people abort the jump too soon. They get nervous when nothing changes in 3D right away. They doubt, they return, and the timeline collapses back to the familiar. But here's the twist. Quantum jumping doesn't require belief. It requires broadcast. You don't have to convince yourself it's real. You just have to stop sending the signal of who you used to be. And that's where this video begins. Because over the next few minutes, you're going to understand why quantum jumping is not a metaphor. It's a process, a science, a strategy of vibrational precision. And when you learn how to engage it deliberately, without waiting for life to push you, you stop reacting to circumstances. You start selecting them. So don't try to understand it all at once. Just stay. Watch what unfolds. Because if something already feels different in your body right now, you may already be jumping. You can't jump while holding on. That's the first rule, and the one most people resist. Because jumping isn't about getting something new. It's about becoming someone different. And that means letting die what no longer vibrates. Thoughts, habits, personas, timelines, narratives. Not all at once, but energetically, fully. You can't broadcast the frequency of your future while staying entangled with the emotion of your past. The field can't receive two signals at once, and it doesn't respond to the louder voice. It responds to the clearest one. This is where quantum mechanics and identity psychology overlap. In the quantum field, all possibilities exist simultaneously as potential. You don't create your new timeline. You access it. And the key is not in doing more, trying harder, or visualizing longer. It's in collapsing the wave of your current self, becoming emotionally and neurologically unavailable for the version of you that created this present reality. And that's the paradox. You don't find your new life by fixing the old one. You jump by no longer being the one who needed it fixed. This is not theory. In neuroscience, we know that identity is not just a story. It's a set of neural pathways. When you wake up and immediately replay your problems, anxieties, regrets, you're reactivating the familiar self. That self has a frequency. That frequency tells the quantum field, keep broadcasting the same. But what happens when you interrupt that loop? When you wake up and ask, what would my future self do now? And then without evidence, you act as if, not pretending, not faking, but deciding because every future is a frequency, and every identity is a code. You don't earn it. You tune to it. And that tuning requires one thing above all: emotional congruence. If you affirm abundance but still feel scarcity, the field responds to the feeling. If you visualize success but still carry guilt, the field mirrors the guilt. That's not failure. That's feedback. The universe is not judging you. It's calibrating to you. So the question is, what are you still emotionally practicing that belongs to the self you're leaving behind? Worry, people-pleasing, hiding. These aren't just patterns. They're frequencies. And they're keeping you entangled with the timeline. You say you want to leave. To collapse the identity is to stop rehearsing it. And you don't need 30 days, 21 steps, or a ritual moon cycle. You need a moment of total energetic honesty. You look at the version of you that is addicted to the old story and you say, I love you, but I no longer choose you. That's the split. That's the jump. That's the shift the field responds to. Because the field is always scanning for coherence. Not perfection. Not excitement. Coherence. A state where your thoughts, feelings, actions, and beliefs all match the frequency of the life you say you want. When you hit that note, even for a second, the quantum field locks in, and then something strange happens. The need to prove, to push, to get dissolves. You feel neutral, clear, and that neutrality isn't detachment. It's evidence that the old identity is no longer active. This is why transformation feels boring sometimes. Because without the drama of doubt, without the friction of duality, there's just presence. And presence is power. You are no longer waiting for the shift. You are no longer becoming the self. You are the self, and the field, like a mirror with no delay, begins to reflect that back. But only if you hold it. Only if you don't blink. Only if you don't revert when the evidence doesn't show up on your timeline fast enough. This is what separates a quantum jumper from a quantum wisher. One sends a signal and stays in it. The other sends a signal and waits for proof. And when the proof doesn't come, they collapse back into the old self, the old broadcast, the old life. But not you, because by the end of this video, you'll know how to hold the signal, how to drop the doubt, how to collapse the you that can't go where you're going, This isn't about metaphysics. It's about memory. Remembering the version of you that already exists and choosing to live from there. And in the next part, I'll show you how to make that choice stick. Most people don't need more information. They need a protocol, something they can actually do when the mind spirals, when the body panics, when the old identity tries to pull them back. So, let's break the myth right now. Quantum jumping is not a one-time decision. It's a sequence, a vibrational ritual, a daily act of collapsing the illusion that you are fixed, limited, or late. The process has 5 steps, not linear, not forced, but energetic postures that allow you to become the version of you that already exists in the timeline you've been trying to reach. Let's call it the broadcast shift. Step 1. Recognize the discomfort as a signal, not a sign of failure. Every time you feel the old self coming back, the fear, the self-doubt, the delay, don't judge it. Don't resist it. Recognize it as your signal that you are on the threshold of the jump. In quantum terms, the discomfort is energetic interference, static between your current frequency and the one you're tuning to. The mistake most people make. They interpret the static as a no when it's actually a recalibration. Step 2. Interrupt the emotional pattern immediately. When the old emotion kicks in, your body wants to follow the path of least resistance. The familiar story. But here's the power move. Interrupt the broadcast. Change your posture. Change your breath. Speak out loud. Do something physical and symbolic to stop the loop. Neuroscience shows us that pattern interruption is the fastest way to disrupt neural coherence and create space for a new choice. Step 3. Embody the frequency of the timeline you want. This is the jump point. You ask, if I already had what I wanted, how would I feel? And you let that feeling take over your nervous system. Not pretend, not visualize. Be for 90 seconds, 3 minutes, however long it takes to flood your field with coherence. You don't need to see the outcome. You need to feel the alignment. The field doesn't measure the outcome. It measures the signal, so broadcast it. Step 4. Make one action from the new identity. Quantum jumping doesn't mean sitting in silence waiting for reality to catch up. It means taking action from your new broadcast. Not to get something, but to demonstrate the shift. Maybe it's a message you send, a boundary you hold, a new thought you practice. It doesn't matter how small. What matters is that it's in character with the version of you that's already living in the new frequency. This creates entanglement. The field begins to mirror back proof because your signal just became measurable. Step 5. Detach from the timeline. Stay in the vibration. This is the most misunderstood part. Most people do the ritual, feel good, and then start scanning reality for results. The moment you look for proof, you've stepped out of frequency and back into fear. Real jumping means staying in the vibration even when nothing changes yet. Especially then, because that's the ultimate test and the field is always listening. Let's make this tangible. Try this ritual tomorrow morning. Wake up. Sit upright. Before checking your phone, ask which version of me am I choosing to broadcast today. Then close your eyes. Breathe and feel the answer. Not from thought, but from posture, breath, and energy. Maybe the answer is calm, bold, trusting, expansive, free. Whatever the answer. Hold that signal for 2 minutes. Then walk into your day as if nothing else exists but that version of you. Speak from it. Move from it. React from it. And watch what shifts. Because when your entire being becomes the new signal, reality no longer has the choice to resist. It must obey, not because you forced it, but because you're no longer matching the old reality's echo. You've stopped being a receiver. You've become a transmitter. And transmitters don't chase proof. They create it by holding the frequency until it materializes. In the next section, we step behind the veil to see what truly interferes with the leap and why so many seekers unknowingly collapse their new broadcast before it stabilizes. More than information, this is an initiation into anchoring the jump. Here is the uncomfortable truth whispered by the inner teacher. Most souls do not fail because they lacked desire. They falter because they did not understand the hidden mechanics of energetic sabotage. They believed doubt was harmless, like a passing cloud. They believed checking for proof was innocent. Yet every "is it working" is a subtle incantation that collapses the broadcast, pulling them back into the orbit of an expired self. Quantum physics calls this the observer effect. The act of looking alters the particle. In human alchemy, the act of doubting alters the frequency. It is not about being endlessly positive. It is about not fracturing the new signal with the fear of the old identity. Here is what happens. You declare a new self. You feel it. You act from it. And the field begins to shimmer in response. Then silence. No sign. The old program rises like a ghost. Maybe I imagined it. Maybe I'm not ready. In that moment, your current glimmer collapses not because it was unreal, but because the broadcast was interrupted. The quantum field mirrors only what you sustain. This is where emotional mastery becomes sacred practice. Not suppression, but luminous awareness. Doubt appears, you name it without merging. Impatience arises, you witness without feeding it. You catch yourself scanning the horizon for signs, you pause. Return to signal, like a mystic returning to mantra. Every emotion is a frequency. The field is not personal. It is a mirror of vibration. It does not punish fear, it reflects it. So the question shifts, which feeling will you embody even as others arise? This is the art of anchoring the jump. You do not wait for readiness. You practice the signal until your nervous system becomes it. Here lies the paradox. The less you chase, the faster it arrives. Chasing implies separation. Separation speaks lack. Lack instructs the field. This is not mine. When you say, "I'll believe it when I see it," you have already lost the thread. But when you whisper, "I believe it, and therefore I will see it," you have jumped. This is what it means to choose yourself without proof. To back the new identity before the world bends. Stop waiting for permission to be who you already are. So here is your invitation, not just to watch, but to weave. Comment below. I choose myself. Speak it. Type it. Anchor it. Not for me or for algorithms, but as a micro-broadcast of emotional certainty. That act is exactly what your field awaits. Not action, not perfection, but alignment. Alignment that murmurs, "I am already there." This is how timelines stabilize, not through strain, but through rhythmic return to signal. The one who returns fastest, no matter the appearance, is the one who bends reality first. That one can be you. I will show you what unfolds when the field responds. Why the chaos you may feel is not failure, but confirmation. What actually happens when the jump lands. When your sustained broadcast becomes so coherent, the quantum field has no choice but to echo it back. Chaos. Silence. Reordering. No one tells you this. Your new frequency does not just magnetize what you desire. It repels what no longer matches. At first, it can feel like loss, confusion, disintegration. Yet this is the sacred paradox. You leap and relationships drift into mist. Jobs feel foreign. Habits feel toxic. Nothing bad is happening. The light of your new vibration is simply revealing misalignment. You once broadcast at 93.7 FM, your life, your people, your patterns all tuned there. Now you resonate at 104.5, same room, entirely different broadcast. Naturally, some elements fade. Conversations feel off. People cannot hear you. Opportunities vanish. This is not regression. This is resonance correcting itself. In quantum terms, your signature has shifted and the field is recalibrating, removing all entanglements with the old self. It is not rejection, it is realignment. You may feel alone, tested, uncertain. Yet this is the space where reality bends. The old timeline dissolves. The new not yet fully formed, the sacred void. Your task is not reaction, but remembrance of signal. This is the threshold where your nervous system craves the familiar, where you want to apologize for the shift, to dim your light, to second guess. But this is the hour of anchoring. What you call tests from the universe are often only echoes, old frequencies bouncing back one last time asking, "Are you sure?" You do not answer with words. You answer with embodiment. You awaken. You breathe the frequency of your new self. You act as the old self never would. You stop explaining your evolution to those demanding evidence. You let go, not of people, but of the you who needed their validation. Then something shifts. A message from someone new. An opportunity that did not exist. A synchronicity so exquisite it makes you laugh through your tears. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations. Proof that the field has locked in. That the broadcast is now baseline. That you no longer leak energy into obsolete stories. It may take days or weeks, but it always unfolds because reality is not random. It is rhythmic. When you become the rhythm of your next level, your timeline tunes to you. Do not fear silence. Do not misinterpret the void as failure. Do not confuse loss of alignment with punishment. See it for what it is. A clearing. A vibrational detox. A cosmic vacuum making space for the version of you already arrived. Waiting to be received. Because it is not enough to jump. You must remain. There is a power in the unseen decision. The quiet choice made before evidence. Applause. Or alignment. That is the true quantum jump, not the vision board. Not the meditation. But the moment you stop broadcasting lack and begin embodying your own frequency with only the field as witness. The field is always watching. Not as judge, but as mirror. A neutral, infinite intelligence bending to one thing only. Your broadcast. Now you know what that broadcast truly is. Not your thoughts, wants, or words, but the vibration you hold when no one looks. And the most potent frequency is certainty. Not certainty in outcome, but certainty in self. When you choose yourself again and again in the silence, in the unknown, in the waiting room between identities, you send the strongest signal the cosmos can receive. You declare, "This is who I am. I need no proof to be it." That is when the shift becomes real. That is when the new timeline lands. Not because you chased it, but because you matched it. From here, reality is no longer a condition, but a confirmation, an echo of the self you already are. So stop searching for results. Look for resonance. Stop asking, "Is it working?" Ask, "Am I broadcasting my future or rehearsing my past?" That one question collapses illusions and timelines in a single breath. When you stop seeking the shift and start being the shift, everything reorganizes around you. It will not be loud. It will be subtle, elegant, inevitable, a friend appearing when you release need, an idea arising when you stop forcing, an opportunity making no logical but every energetic sense. That is not luck. That is the quantum field whispering back. Message received. If something stirred within you as you traveled these words, if something clicked or resonated beyond reason, that is your field moving. Coherence rising. A new timeline opening. Take one small step from this frequency. Write the version of you you're broadcasting. Release one thing that no longer matches. Sit in silence and breathe as your future self a few seconds longer. Whatever you do, let it come from certainty. And if you desire to continue receiving transmissions that harmonize with this field, supporting your expansion, coherence, and quantum evolution, remain with us. Not just subscribing, but attuning. This is not merely a channel, it is a living transmission. Each return here reinforces your frequency. If this resonates, if you are ready to embody the truth you have always felt deep inside, like, share, and subscribe to Quantum Secrets, the space where you choose yourself again and again until the universe has no choice but to respond.